Good morning. Welcome to the Commission meeting of April 15, 2025. I will call the meeting to order and note for the record that we have a quorum of members present with Commissioner Benninga joining us online, and Commissioner Karski is absent today. Before we get started, please take a moment to silence your phones, and if you plan on providing public comment, please sign in the back of the room. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Heisey.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Blyenberg.
Aye. Moving on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is used to act on routine items by one motion and one vote of the Board of Commissioners. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on the consent agenda? Are there any requests by the Commission to remove items from the consent agenda? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Blyenberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to regular business. Item number 7, a public hearing to consider 13 special event on-sale liquor license applications for Red Rock Bar and Grill, Inc. at Huset's Speedway race events between May 2025 and August 2025. Kim Christensen, Commission Recorder.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kim Christensen with the Auditor's Office. We have received 13 applications for special event liquor licenses for Red Rock Bar and Grill. The applications are specific to racing events taking place during May to June to allow for Red Rock to sell liquor to be consumed on site during the various racing events at Huset's Speedway. The applications have been provided to the Sheriff's Department, State's Attorney's Office, and Planning Department for review, and no objections or concerns were raised. Just as a note, the cost for the license is $50 per day with a publishing fee, and pursuant to Resolution 2077, the licenses can be issued for no longer than 15 consecutive days, and the maximum is 15 special event licenses per calendar year for the license applicant.
Thank you. As this is a public hearing, we will consider a testimony from a proponent. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this? Any opponents? Anyone opposed? Looking to the Commission for discussion or action.
Make a motion to approve. Benninga.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Benega.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Blyenberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 8 on the agenda, Minnehaha County Coroner's Annual Presentation. Dr. Snell.
Morning, everyone. So, as usual, we try to give you an update on what's happened in our area. And if we look at the 2024 data, as I was worried about at the very start, if you remember last year, it's been a year, we were worried about 2024 being an extra high year. Turned out it wasn't that high, but we did see a 12.6% increase in the overall number of cases we received, 5.3% increase in the ones that we actually accepted as the coroner's office. If we look at our exams, which is some of the money cost to our department, we actually had an 11% increase in the number of exams from the autopsies, but a slight decrease in our externals. Those that we accept, we'll complete a death certificate on, but don't do, there was an increase there as well. As concerned the number of DC kickbacks, these are ones where we're not notified of the death when it occurs. We find out later when the death certificate is put in for me to complete. Those can be from hospital, nursing homes, either way. There was a pretty substantial 28% jump in those. And then the number of cases that we got phone calls on but didn't accept, there was also an increase in that as well. If we look at those cases that we actually took and did an autopsy or external on, what were the causes of death? Gunshot wounds was the number one, followed by drug deaths, hypertension, traffics, and that's in combination of all driver, passenger, or pedestrians, and then ethanol. There's a little bit of change in what we saw in 23, but the number first and two were pretty much the same, just flip the order there. If we look at the manners of death of those same cases, predominantly it was accident followed by naturals, and then had suicides, homicides, and undetermineds. But if we look at the manners of death of all the cases that we accepted, so whether we examined them or not, natural by far is the predominant one, followed by accidental deaths, with the suicides, undetermineds, and homicides coming up after that. If we look at our infant deaths, it was a great year. We only had two. We had one that was in an unsafe sleep environment. One actually had meningitis, bacterial infection of the brain. We did have, if you remember in the press, we had the one infant that came from the recycle center. We did have that one fetus there. So those were our two infants and one fetus that we had last year. Like I said, that was a very good year for us. If we look at those natural deaths that we had, by far high blood pressure was the main cause, followed by respiratory or some other form of a cardiac. That could be like an aortic aneurysm that ruptured, along those lines, with heart disease being last. So pretty much cardiovascular is the primary thing that was affecting our natural deaths when we look at those. If we look at the accidental deaths, drugs was by far the most. It was a decrease from the 23, but it's still pretty high, followed by traffics. And then we'll finish that with positional asphyxias and drownings. If we look at our drug deaths, this is getting to be a little bit, I'm going to have to start dropping off some of the earlier years. It's getting to be harder to read. But by far, methamphetamine was the big component last year. It was up. We'd been high in the past, but kind of had a couple of years of slowing down. But last year it came back. As you can see also, fentanyl was really high. Heroin, I'll leave it there, but we haven't seen that as a fatality in a large number of years. Only had a couple of the prescription opiates there. And then we see a little bit of other stuff trickling in. Overall, as we mentioned earlier, it was down a little bit from previous years, but it's still pretty high at 28 total number of deaths that we had. We look at the suicide deaths. We had 34, a drop from previous year. February was our highest, followed by April, July, and December. So the holidays are never primary for us here. It always seems to be spring tends to be our primary time of the year here. Gunshot wounds, again, pretty much the same as previous year. And then hangings and drugs fall on the same pattern that we've had in 23. So last but not least, looking forward, as you would remember, we underwent the transition in our transport company previously. We have a new contract. Unfortunately, that contract brings a large expense. We've already had, as you know, requested a budget extension or addition on that. So that will be our biggest hurdle going forward this year, will be that budget. Toxicology costs really shouldn't see any change there because I reached an agreement with them last year that they would leave us alone this year. So we shouldn't see any change there. The reported cases, if you look at the first 3 months, we're actually slow, which if we stay at that path, we're going to drop all the way back to like 2015. So it'd be a huge drop in cases. I'm not sure why, but we haven't looked fully at our March numbers yet, but it looks like we're going to be slower, which is what we've kind of been hoping for, and would be nice with the transport costs to be slower there. But as you know, we can transition, and things can change on us. Looking at Lincoln County, they're having a bad year. So we may hopefully get lucky in Minnehaha County this year and have a slower year in everything that we're dealing with. So in summary, that's what I've got going forward. Can I entertain questions?
My first question, Dr. Snell, could you identify yourself for the record?
I apologize. Dr. Kenneth Snell, coroner from Minnehaha County.
Thank you. I would just like to pass on our appreciation for you and for your expertise and the work that you do and your staff. Having had a chance to meet some of them in the past, I know they're a great crew. I was just curious how your staffing is going currently.
We are, and the hospital is trying hard to hire a fifth PA. The workload on their side, on the hospital side, does make it a little bit difficult for us on our side. Also, from a technician side, we just hired a new technician, so that should hopefully stable us out there. Our secretary's back full-time now, so that's also a benefit there. So it's looking better. If we can just hire that fifth PA, we should be set for numerous years. We do have an update on our morgue. If everything keeps going as we've been notified, we should do all the formal planning this year and may be able to build the new morgue next year. Where the big benefit of that is it would store 10 instead of the 5, which would cut down on some of these where we're having to store them off-site, and we have to pay to store off-site. But that would hopefully eliminate that, which would be a cost savings to us. Would give us 3 stations instead of 2, so that also would be a benefit. So if everything goes well, we'll get that formal planning this year and hopefully build next year.
Okay. I forgot to ask if anyone from the public would like to comment on Dr. Snell's presentation.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Question for you, Dr. Snell. I guess kind of putting perspective on my hat with the city health department, we're always looking for more of the overdose data. I know it's more your jurisdiction when that overdose is a fatality, but just struggling to find, again, is it a fentanyl crisis? Is it meth? What are we seeing in our community? Can you just describe maybe how you, in your office, collaborates with law enforcement, sheriff's office, Sioux Falls PD, the hospital systems, just to kind of share data and say, what are we seeing in the community as far as any drug crisis, any new drugs coming into the community, things like that?
Yeah, so the first thing is that, of course, every death from a drug that occurs in the city, the county, that immediately goes to the police. They're aware of that. I do work with the drug task force in the PD. Also work with the DEA, working on data there, sharing cases. They make me aware of cases, and I try to track those. Also, sometimes I get a call from them saying, we expect this person to be dying, which is important because the hospitals only save blood for so many days. So if they notify me, hey, we're expecting this drug overdose to die, we will work with the hospitals to secure that original blood sample. Because by the time I get them, the blood that I get will be negative for that drug. So we do work and coordinate that way with the hospitals and with law enforcement that way. One of the new things that we have finally got all the pieces put together is there is the OD map. It's a national OD map. We finally got it so that I can enter data directly into that. We're now in the process that we're going to go back and put all of our 24 deaths, like I presented today, all of those will be put into that database. Now, a lot of those may already be there, so that's not a big deal. But going forward, we'll be putting those in there as well. So that helps, in multiple fronts. There's a lot of different agencies use that OD map, and it's as live as we can make it on our side, But that is another way we're trying to coordinate that as well. And then there is a case we're working on right now. It seems to be it's a synthetic marijuana that has not been seen in years, but it looks like it's making a comeback. And we are working with some special research labs to confirm that that one is there. Once we get that confirmed, then we'll make everyone aware of exactly which synthetic marijuana that is. Because, like I said, my company right now, they've dropped it. They haven't seen it in so many years, they're not testing for it. But we are using a research lab to see exactly what that is. So there's another way where we're trying to take information we give and give back to the community so they can be aware of that. Unfortunately, those are hard to keep up with. There's so many of them.
Thank you, Dr. Snell.
Thank you.
That brings us to the next item on the agenda, number 9, Sioux Empire Fair Association Annual Presentation. Scott Wick, happy to have you here.
Good morning and thank you. This will be my 14th presentation, first one following the coroner.
Could you state your name for the record for us also?
Well, I'm Joe Hosman, and I'm the board chair for the Sioux Empire Fairgrounds.
Again, Scott Wick, Sioux Empire Fair, WH Line Fairgrounds. So first off, thank you very much for the grace period on giving this report. I've had some health issues going on, and we're doing really well. I've got a new device to carry around, so now I know it's like carry a purse for a small child all day long. But, yeah, we had the 85th Annual Sioux Empire Fair. Weather was favorable. It's always a risk with the weather, but we had a good week. Next slide, please. We've been very blessed and fortunate to have all of these sponsors now for over 10 years, and they've been very, very supportive. And yeah, Premier Weekend with First Premier Bank card, and then we brought on John Deere and CMB Equipment on also, and Grand Falls has been with us for many, many years, and of course, Ag Appreciation Day, Touchstone Energy and their cooperatives continue on. And then we had Circle K for the second year. South Dakota Corn's been with us many, many years, and Smithfield Foods. Next slide, please. And we had our first Fiesta Latina event on Sunday, which was fairly well attended, but we've switched it to, no, it was Friday. Friday night. We're switching it to Sunday this year, so more of our target population can make it out to the event. And of course, Ag Appreciation Day is always very well attended, and Bill Zortman's out there interviewing different folks, the mayor, lieutenant governor at the time. And then we did a new thing called Pig Pals, and that's when physically and mobility challenged young kids get to come out and work with young people, learn how to show a pig, and then they have a competition. So that was a cool thing to do, and we're doing that again this year. Next slide, please. Overall numbers for static exhibits and displays hold strong and are right at par from previous year or up a little bit. Again, weather dictates that. I mean, if it's really hot, people aren't throwing their livestock in trailers and driving out. Now we do have some competition with some other open shows and point shows that are on top of us in Iowa and Nebraska. Next slide, please. Thank you. Art Center continues to do well with a lot of exhibitors and a tremendous amount of exhibits and a lot of games. Very, very well attended and supported. And Thana does a great job and continues to raise more sponsors for that. Next slide, please. Thank you. Commercial food vendors are strong. There's been a lot of shuffling and families that have been in the business 35, 40 years, and kids are like, yeah, we don't want to take this over. So there's been some groups that have bought out other family booths and bought their runs. So that continues to shuffle. Staffing continues to be kind of a problem, but they do get quite a few locals that work. So next slide, please. Thank you. We did get we were able to use the new show arena, the new covered building that was put up, and 4-H and FFA went and we just had them lay that out on the inside the way they wanted it, that works best for them. So that was a big improvement, especially on those hot afternoon days, and it's getting used. It'll be used in June too for the big market lamb show. There'll be 300 to 500 sheep there for that. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we continue to host the food temple giveaway every Friday, and there's upwards of 1,000 cars come through every Friday, sometimes 1,200, 1,400, just depends. And then they'll have flash food giveaways throughout the week, so that donated building from the Nordson Johnson families continues to be used to serve that food-deprived community that is around here, unfortunately. And we host the electric vehicles through the energy cooperatives, and they come out and do some test driving in the East Lot. And then there's turkey and ham giveaways during the holidays. Sioux Falls Cares does their big event and does that out of the north room of the expo. In fact, they got a new overhead door donated that was put in the east side. So now it's a drive-through. They run their cars in, get them all loaded up, and run them out the other side. It's very efficient. They deliver food and gifts and clothes and things to the families that need them. Excess of 900. They have quite the crew and operation that's out there. And then we're the site for the Run for Food during November, where the banquet has a fundraiser where they raise money for the banquet. Next slide, please. So here we are with financials. Starting out with the grandstand. Grant Entertainment is the is the highest expense we have every year, and it's not getting any cheaper. But you just continue to look for the ones that fit our business model, because we're still $10 to get in the gate, and most of the grandstand events are included with that, which is not very typical in the fair business, because usually you pay to get in and you have to buy another ticket. You can upgrade to a pit pass, which is the seating right in front of the grandstand. But obviously the grandstand's the most expensive part, and then the grounds are the acts that, like the kids fun zone on the south side of the property. Production is stage sound and lights, and of course you got the stage hands that put that all together. That's another fairly large expense. Our beer garden, we don't do very much. We haven't had a lot of success in bands after the bands. We do very well during the concerts in the grandstand. So we've done some stuff after the rodeos a time or two, but it's not a big part of what our fair. So next slide, please. So you roll that up to entertainment, along with payroll, cost of goods, and everything going down. Insurance, as everybody knows, is getting increasingly higher. And we take out insurance on the concerts, rain insurance or cancellation insurance, and that gets to be more and more every year. But 2 years ago, it definitely was nobody likes paying premiums, but you know, it's good to have it when you need it. When we had those 2 rain outs, it was very beneficial to have it. And the marketing and advertising, competitive livestock, those are payouts. And you always have to rent a bunch of equipment that, you know, you can't really afford to own yourself, because it would just sit for 11 months a year. And when something just sits, usually it doesn't work real well when you fire it up. Next slide, please. So this is just a continuation of rodeo expenses and some miscellaneous expenses. Total expenses of $1,384,727. And then we'll go to the revenue side. Admission, camping, and carnival were $848,951. Beverage and concession, $212,894. Sponsors were strong at $132,219. Your commercial and food vendors, those are the food vendors outside, commercial vendors in the expo building, $126,084. Grandstand ticket sales, we did have a ticketed show last year. We had the rapper Flo Rida, which was interesting to say the least. Showed up an hour and a half late, but that helped the beer sales hit the number they did. So those grandstand ticket sales are from that ticketed show, plus the upgrade for the pit pass. And then, of course, rodeo entry fees. We did add a Monsters in the Midway bull and bronc ride on Friday night, and then we have our 2 performances of our rodeo on Saturday. So overall, we had a fair revenue of $1,652,538. Next slide, please. With a net profit of $267,811. So it was another profitable year, and we're looking forward to this next year. We've got some exciting things coming on. We were approached by one of the armed services that wants to be heavily involved, so we're going to see some neat displays and some interactive displays that are there, and be able to enhance the experience and have some neat musical stuff that's happening too. And maybe a commissioning during one of the rodeo events. But we haven't got the official stamp from the government yet, so I can't really say anymore. But they came to us and wanted to be part of it, so it's going to be exciting. And yeah, I'm not trying to grow hair or anything. And a health update, I'm sure y'all, so back in October, I was diagnosed with glioblastoma, a very nasty brain tumor. November 5th, successfully removed 98 to 100% of it, and did radiation and chemo. Chemo was done at home in a pill form, so it was very tolerable. I never had any symptoms of it anyway. So went in for an incidental deal, and they caught it. So feel very lucky there. So had a good scan 2 weeks ago, and I'm right where they think I should be for what I've had done so far, and nothing new has grown yet. This is called Optune, and I'm on this at least 18 hours a day, and plug into it when I'm at work and plug it into the wall at night, but it knocks down cancer tumor growth. And it's been around about 10 years. Didn't really know about it till my wife researched it and Mayo prescribed it. So been doctoring with Sanford, but they've been consulting with Mayo. Feel very, very lucky and blessed with the medical treatment we've been receiving. So just keep on carrying this around and keep the batteries charged, and hopefully we'll be given many more reports. Any questions?
We'll start with public comment, if anyone from the public wants to comment on the report. Okay, turn it over to the commission. Any questions?
Madam Chair. Scott, thank you for being with us today, and I'm happy you're still with us, and it seems like you're in good health. So I wish you the best of recovery. I did want to ask, a lot of aging facilities on the property, and what kind of projects are you looking at to be completed over the next few years to improve the quality of the fairgrounds?
Well, we need to get we're still waiting for parts for 2 of the furnaces in the expo building. So those need to be addressed and get back up to speed because clients, we've had the flea market had some cold days and most of their vendors are of the more mature age and don't handle the cold as well. And then there's the furnaces in the main, Mark told me the furnaces in the main part of the expo are just about the end of their useful life too. So really just getting the systems up to date. And, I wouldn't say no to a new expo building, but,
Yeah.
that's probably not gonna happen. But we just need to get things up to speed and so we can be competitive in our lease agreements and our rentals.
Yeah, it was my understanding getting those HVAC systems back up to speed. The main thing that was taking so long is they have to be fabricated individually, right? You can't just
Yeah,
order it
these
off
are,
Amazon and
these,
get
due
it
to their
next day.
age, parts aren't as readily available. So we're hoping to get those back in. I think Mark said they should be here in May.
It's my understanding that 4-H uses the facilities at the fairgrounds. Is
Yes.
that true? Just curious how they use the space.
They do, they'll do qualifying events and they'll do weigh-ins out at our place. They do an annual horse show. So since we're a county facility, they get to come out and use it, and they've been great to work with. They'll get a group together and come out and do projects for us if we ask and clean things up. But 4-H uses a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you again. On behalf of the board and the staff, thank you for continued support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to number 10 on the agenda, authorize the chair to sign a management agreement between Minnehaha County and the Sioux Empire Fair Association Incorporated. Tom Greco.
Good morning, Tom Greco, Commission Administrative Officer. So before you is a 2-year management agreement with Sioux Empire Fair Association. You just heard a great update from Scott and Joe on what they did this past year. This agreement is substantively unchanged from what was adopted 2 years ago. So I won't go through all the details of the agreement, but certainly if you have questions, please ask me. I would encourage your approval of this agreement. It's been signed by Scott, and it would take us through the next 2 years.
Any public comment? Commission discussion or motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Heisey.
Aye.
Kipley.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Lineberg.
Aye. Motion carries. That brings us to number 11 on the agenda, authorize the chair to sign a lease agreement between Minnehaha County and the Sioux Empire Fair Association Incorporated. Tom Greco again.
Tom Greco again. This is the accompanying agreement with the Sioux Empire Fair Management Agreement. This lease agreement is also for a 2-year period, and basically the cost of leasing the grounds is fulfilling the terms of the management agreement. And obviously, we've had a great relationship with Sioux Empire Fair Association and look forward to this agreement being adopted as well.
Thank you. Anyone want to comment on this? Commission discussion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Lineberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 12, consider a resolution for burn ban in Minnehaha County. Jason Gearman, Director of Emergency Management.
Good morning, Jason Gearman, Minnehaha County Emergency Management. I'm here again today for you guys to consider a resolution to enact a burn ban. As you recall, we did this recently. It was only on for a short time as we received some rainfall through that weekend. We're in a similar situation right now. If you were to enact the burn ban, the forecast is showing really dry conditions tomorrow and high winds, which there'll be fire danger, I'm sure, put on by the National Weather Service. Thursday, there's going to be some chances of thunderstorms. And then throughout Easter, as I talked to the National Weather Service this morning, the pattern shows a wet pattern through Easter. So it just all depends on how much we get or how warm it gets and how windy it is. I did make a trip out into the county yesterday. Just drove around through the north part of, middle part of Minnehaha County. And obviously the road ditches, if they've been mowed, you can see that the green grass is coming up. So that kind of reduces things a little bit, but that's not the typical problems that we have. It's the people that, are burning in high winds, maybe a brush pile that gets out of control or burning an overgrown ditch. So we're here to consider the burn ban today. Rural Fire is not here, but they were in support of this when I talked to them, and I also conferred with Commissioner Kipley last week about this.
Thank you. Any public comment on this? Commission discussion?
Madam Chair, I would note that I was walking downtown Sioux Falls and got rained on yesterday, but it wasn't enough. So I just checked the airport totals. I think we only got 0.03 of an inch yesterday, so basically negligible. So I think we're in the same situation we were, that the facts support the burn ban, and I think we've, with the help of our state's attorney, we kind of were winging it on the fly last time to create a mechanism to rescind that without having to get the full group together again. So I think we've got that hardwired into the motion today. So last time I communicated with Commissioner Karski, I was also getting probably daily emails or texts from the Fire Chiefs Association, and then Jason was kind enough to let me know when he's starting to get phone calls from people saying, hey, when is this burn ban going to get lifted? So obviously we're in that spring cleanup season where people want to burn, but I think we're going to have to impose this for at least a few days here. Hopefully that weather forecast helps us out through this weekend, but I'd be supportive of this measure and would make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second a motion, and Madam Chair, also comment, and I'm just curious, what was the response of the public when the last burn ban was put in place? Was it well followed? Was there any fires that arose
The day that the burn ban put on, somebody had started a fire, and then after they started, they went and called in to Metro to say that they were burning, and then we responded, and he put it out, and it was fine. Handful of complaints on my end. I think the commission office might have received some calls, but only I think one person was pretty upset, but after talking to him and, hey, this is something we got to do, he realized that, this has to be done, and it wasn't a problem. But since we lifted it, I haven't had any calls, and, I think the public is getting really, really informed about not burning, especially with the information that the National Weather Service is putting out. And Metro Communications does receive calls, and people are kind enough to call in and say, hey, we're going to do a controlled burn. And Metro will advise them, hey, there's a burn ban, or hey, it's high winds today, you should be careful. So I think that's working well also. And the option is, like we did last time, if we decide to rescind it, the paperwork's all there, we're just changing dates, and we can always get it on the commission agenda again. And it takes very little time to do that right now, so.
Great. Sounds like the system's working well. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 13, authorize the chair to sign an agreement between Minnehaha County and Dakota Cemetery Management. We have Lori Montes, Assistant Human Services Director. Welcome,
Good
Lori.
morning, Lori Montes, Human Services. Here this morning just to see about getting a signature on an updated agreement. We've had an agreement with Dakota Cemetery Management to oversee our county cemetery, which is located right next to the highway department. and we've had that since 2016. Right now, we're just looking at doing an increase in rate, which we have done probably every couple years. One thing that's new on this agreement that we haven't had listed before is a 2.5% accelerator for 3 years, so that we don't have to kind of bring it forward every year, every couple years when Dakota Management, Cemetery Management requests an increase. So just trying to make that process a little bit easier. So the increase actually went from $5,729 in 2022, and the current contract would be for $7,500 for 2025. It would have started April 1st. So be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone from the public want to comment on this item? Okay. Commission?
I have just one question. Lori, do we still have some community service clubs that are interested in placing markers, and is this still accommodate them, or are we trying our best to, when people have kind of a civic spirit of engagement with our cemetery, or are we managing that? Can you give just an update?
Sure. Yes, we still do work with, typically it's the Odd Fellows, who's the community agency that helps with that. They're still part of that, and that's part of this agreement as well, that we purchase the markers, and then they place them, and then they also, I believe, do some funding on their own as well for a few each year, so.
Looking
Make
for
a motion to approve.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 14, authorize the chair to sign modification agreement number 3 between Minnehaha County and the Urban Institute and to utilize remaining MacArthur Foundation grant funds for the Just Home project. Brett Johnson, Community Services Engagement Manager.
Good morning, Commission. Brett Johnson with Human Services. Yes, before you, we do have a request, a modification agreement number 3, and just to give you a little bit of history, how we got to modification number 3. Back in 2011, we were actually approached by the MacArthur Foundation to apply for these grant funds because of our experience working with them and lifting up the link and doing some other projects. And so we were one of 4 jurisdictions in the country to be awarded these funds, both grant and then project-related investment funds. And so through the process of that, we've been able to build a much stronger working relationship with them and some other community partners. And so this was presented to us as an equitable housing demonstration project. And so we've continually worked through the process of looking at it as kind of a pilot project or a demonstration project, and looking at developing housing and other options for individuals and families who are impacted by the criminal justice system. And so we've been able to develop some stronger partnerships. Through this process, we've been able to bring in some investment dollars for building the second apartment building at the Glory House, as well as the St. Francis House, being able to purchase copper arms. But before you today is a modification agreement, so we have the opportunity to have essentially a no-cost extension through the end of October of 2026 to give us the opportunity to spend down the remaining dollars that we have in the $640,000 grant that we received from them. Part of that includes transitioning the coordination of the Just Home project from our office to another partner in the community, as well as continuing work from South Dakota Urban Indian Health as they continue to host talking circles and provide a cultural component to this project. So, as I indicated before, this modification agreement number 3 between Urban Institute and Minnehaha County Human Services, the signature by the chair would essentially give us the opportunity to continue this work and in creating what we'd like to consider a community project, not a county human services project.
Thank you, Brett. Any public comment on this item? Commission discussion? I could just say what my experience has been with the Just Home Project, being able to see the work that really, I think you summed it up well. Human Services kind of got this moving, but it's transitioning into a community project that's very, very helpful. So thank you for all the work that everybody has done from your team.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley,
Aye.
Heisey. Aye. Benega.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 15, consider a motion to issue a proclamation recognizing April 20 through 26, 2025 as Volunteer Week in Minnehaha County. Carrie Deaver, Human Resources Director.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be in front of you today asking for your support once again this year to recognize Volunteer Week. In 2025, Volunteer Week is April 20th through 26th. As you know from our monthly updates, we're very privileged and grateful to have individuals who are helping us each month in several departments throughout the county. Those volunteers have a big impact on our organization. We have several representatives who are the benefit of those volunteer hours each month as well. Overall, so far in 2024 and so far in 2025, we've had about 240 volunteers each month contributing to the county, and we're asking for your support in issuing this proclamation to recognize them.
Any public comment on this item? Commission?
Madam Chair. Yeah, it comes a little bit of a shock to me that we have so many volunteers on a regular basis. What departments are they typically working in or volunteering for?
It's a very good question. The museum, as you can see, Bill Huskins is here, has several volunteers each week or each month. The museum, the sheriff's office, emergency management, human services has a few. We've had volunteers in the state's attorney's office, the public defender's office, the auditor's office this past year too. So I would say well over half of our departments are grateful for their help.
Does that figure also include rural firefighters or first responders?
I don't believe, Jason, no, I don't believe it does.
Okay. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for all the work with volunteers.
Jason Gearman, Minnehaha County Emergency Management. I just wanted to give you guys, I know Maria was in here and gave you the presentation for emergency management, but anytime I can get up in front of the media or public to push for volunteers, as we're in need of volunteers and we're sitting good, but I have a police reserve unit, a rescue squad, and a dive team, and we utilize them every day, and I think Minnehaha County is unique. Some places may have a dive team, some places may have some of a rescue squad, but we do have all three. It's an expense, but I think it's a good thing to fund, as they put in about 9,000 hours worth of training and volunteer hours throughout the year between the three groups that I have. It's about 100 total. We're always looking for dive team members. Police Reserve will have a class in the fall, winter again. We had to cancel that this year because of lack of interest. And then we're always looking for rescue squad members. That entails water rescues, assisting rural fire, other type of logistical things. Thanks.
Now, if there were a member of the public that wanted to volunteer for your department, where would they go to do that, or who would they call?
You can call emergency management, or you can go online and fill the application out. It's under the sheriff's office, and it's Division of Emergency Management, and the application is right there. And you can email it directly to me or the Assistant Director, Maria Monkvold.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks.
Yeah, Madam Chair, definitely appreciate the civic engagement in our community, but it's something we can't take for granted. So appreciate Jason's message of encouraging future volunteerism. But with that, I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley,
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Blindberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 16, consider a motion to authorize the Highway Department to purchase 4 new Horizon Signal SQ2 portable traffic signals in the amount of $49,902.90. Jacob Morris, Highway Superintendent.
Morning, Commission. Jacob Morris Highway. In front of you today is a request to purchase 4 signal units. We use these when we do bridge repairs, and we're not able to complete the repairs before the end of the day. They just help make sure traffic can get safely across the bridge. We had this in our budget for this year, just over $50,000. We got 2 quotes, and one of them ended up coming in under budget.
Any public comment on this item? Turn it over to the commission.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Heisey,
Aye.
Kipley,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Blyenberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 18, authorize chair to sign an agreement between Minnehaha County and South Dakota Urban Indian Health to provide outreach services in 2020. That makes more sense. Thank you. Item number 17, consider bid results and award recommendation for annual materials letting and authorize chair to sign all 4 of the vendor agreements. Bids opened March 26, 2025. Jacob Morris, Highway Superintendent.
Commissioner Jacob Morris Highway. We recently bid our annual materials. These are materials that we use throughout the year. The 4 items were hot mix asphalt, snow plow cutting edges, rock salt, and UV CIPP liners.
Any public comment on this item?
I have
Commission?
one question, Madam Chair. So Jacob, with this low snow and ice season that we have hopefully survived, now as spring is springing, did we have quite a bit, was it significant budget savings in your world on salt and those types of supplies from the winter season that you can carry over? Do you need to order less of it going into the next year, or just kind of give us an overview of that?
Yeah, there's roughly about $250,000 that we budget for just the rock salt itself, not including the amount of overtime that we would spend on the roads and then the wear and tear on the trucks. The cutting edges are a large piece of that too. I think the bid for these was $25,000, but it's been as much as $80,000 in the past, just depending on how many we use throughout the winter. So $400,000 to $500,000 we could spend in a bad winter between overtime, cutting edges, rock salt, and whatnot. So definitely a significant savings this year because we didn't have to be out on the roads.
Madam Chair, if I could, another follow-up, just what are some of the inflationary pressures on the hot mix asphalt? You give us in your memo this, the increases in that since 2020, just what goes into that, and do you see what's the kind of macroeconomic market for hot mix asphalt?
It's kind of interesting. A large part of asphalt is oil, but that's been going down over recent years. The piece that's been going up in price considerably is rock. I attribute that just to the amount of labor that it takes to harvest and haul the rock. Those are really the 2 items that go into it. And it's just been a small increase over the last couple of years for asphalt itself.
All right, appreciate that. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley,
Aye.
Heisey,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Blyenberg.
Aye. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to number 18, to authorize the chair to sign an agreement between Minnehaha County and South Dakota Urban Indian Health to provide outreach services in 2025 and 2026 using funding from the MacArthur's Foundation's Safety and Justice Challenge in the amount of $65,000. Tom Greco, Commission Administrative Officer.
All right, good morning, Tom Greco again, Commission Administrative Officer. So this is the 3rd and final professional services agreement to implement the grant that was awarded to the county earlier this year from the MacArthur Foundation. This particular service agreement is to South Dakota Urban Indian Health. We've had a relationship with them through the MacArthur grant process. This is our 3rd cycle with them specifically. What this does, this professional services agreement, is it allocates a total of $65,000 over the course of 2 years, as noted in the title. And the purpose of this is to fund the work being done by their Wiokia program, which is an outreach program, a street outreach program focused on downtown Sioux Falls. and it essentially provides for increased access for unhoused and underhoused individuals to get mental health, substance use, mentoring, and culturally appropriate programming services throughout the city. So I would recommend your approval of this particular agreement. Urban Indian Health is not here today. They are actually at a MacArthur event today. I do urge your support for this and recommend approval.
Thank you. Anyone from the public want to comment on this item? Commission? I could just add that the Wokie project seems to be targeting a population that has a need right now. So I hope that this funding is able to be beneficial for them going forward.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey. Aye. Benega.
Aye.
Weinberg.
Aye. Motion carries. That brings us to number 19, Information Technology Annual Presentation. Monty Wadenbach, IT Director. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me here this morning. A few things covering up my presentation. Give me just a moment.
Don't worry, Monty. We're enjoying the irony.
Great. I can't see the view button. If I had the keyboard, it'd be F5. Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Monty Wadenbach, Minnehaha County IT Director. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to come and talk with you here this morning. As you may know, the Minnehaha County IT Department is the centralized IT department for all county departments. I'd like to read to you what I consider to be our mission statement. Minnehaha County IT supports all county departments by providing and maintaining the infrastructure to operate in a reliable and secure fashion. With that foundation, Minnehaha County IT partners with departments to find innovative solutions in order to maximize productivity, while at the same time minimizing costs and risks. This includes purchasing solutions as well as developing in-house solutions and providing support for those solutions. So I'll kind of go through some projects that we've completed, projects that we're working on, and some future projects. So first off, just some completed projects. Every year we go through a major Tyler Munis upgrade. Tyler Munis is our ERP system here at the county, which is our payroll system, financials, as well as a few other things surrounding that. So the upgrade really didn't impact most county employees very much, but it's still a pretty significant upgrade where we upgrade our test environment. We get all the core users that do payroll, HR functions, finance functions, make sure that all of those processes work correctly in that test environment before we do the upgrade to the production environment. Project went very well. No major issues. Next item I'd like to mention is Document Pro for Register of Deeds. Major project for them. That's kind of their core recording software that they use. So we migrated over decades worth of various different recorded documents, probably one of the more complicated data migrations that we've had. So it was a big lift for us in that the data migration was kind of complicated. One of their core applications, and again, that project went very well. Patrol Mobile replacement, we're really just replacing the mobile computers in the patrol cars. Not that big of a deal other than those cars are out and about, so logistically just getting them back and making sure that when we put them into a patrol car, they're working correctly so they don't have to come back here. That went very well. We also moved our disaster recovery equipment from fire headquarters at 27th in Minnesota out to the new Public Safety Center on the northeast side of town. So we have equipment that we replicate all of our data. So every pretty much every bit of data that we have here, from network drive shares to servers, is replicated out to that location. And in the event of some sort of disaster to our server room here in the public safety building, we could fire things up maybe in a little bit of a diminished capacity, but we could fire things up and we could function, at least limp along at that facility. Last item I'd like to mention as far as completed projects is just the PED migration. PED probably is an acronym that stands for something, but I couldn't even tell you what it is. We call it PED, used by the planning department for their permitting. And that was a standalone access database that's been around for forever, but over the years has kind of just become problematic because it relies on Microsoft Access. Anyways, we migrated those functions over to what we call Parcel Manager. Parcel Manager is an application we developed here at the county years ago, and it's a way that we were able to basically take care of anything that wasn't managed in Tyler Encode or ProVal or some other sort of application. When I started here at the county 14 years ago, we had lots and lots of AS400 applications, very intertwined together, and getting those applications moved over to new technology has been a journey. And that Parcel Manager is one way that we were able to bring over pieces of that at a time, so we could make one gigantic, very complicated project into many little ones. And this is just a little piece that we were able to bring over kind of here at the end into Parcel Manager. So projects that we're currently working on, as you may know, we've been migrating folks over to Office 365. So we kind of did a pilot group last year, and then we really kind of started chipping away at that right away here at the beginning of the year. I'm pleased to report that we've migrated everyone over to Office 365. So what that really entails is migrating mailboxes, email mailboxes, up to Microsoft's cloud offering, and then installing a new version of Office on their PCs. So we're pretty much completed with that project. We have some final steps to do to decommission the old email server and get us in a position that we can manage moving forward. Along with that migration, we also implemented Duo two-factor authentication. We're just in a world where that's just really what we need. Without two-factor authentication, we just run the risk of someone's password becoming compromised and someone being able to log into our email. So we implemented that along with Office 365. The PC techs are busy replacing PCs right now. So we replace, give or take, 100 PCs throughout the county every year. Doing it in a fashion like that allows the techs to kind of balance their workload and replace, give or take, a fifth of our computers every year. And then one more item here, we're migrating a burial permit application. That is the last application that we're using on our AS400. So very small application, should be pretty easy to do. So was really hoping to come to this presentation this year saying that we completely decommissioned the AS400. We're not quite there yet, but we're very close. This small application is the last thing that we have on there. Few future projects. So we hope to upgrade Tyler Encode. That is our property tax software that we use from Encode 9 to Encode 10. We're really kind of waiting on the vendor to upgrade that software to accommodate all of the functions that we need to have in South Dakota for South Dakota tax laws. So it's something that we've been kind of pushing and encouraging them. I'm hoping to budget that for next year's budget. I meet with them later this week to find out if, in fact, they'll be ready. So crossing my fingers on that. That's a pretty significant upgrade. So I'm hoping we can do that in 2026. We're also kind of at the end of our life on our current phone system. It's been in place for 14 years, give or take, shortly after I started here, so probably 13 years. That phone system is end of life, and so we're looking at a new phone system. We're doing some demos within the IT department. We kind of plan to be the first department to go live with the 3CX phone system that we've narrowed down to. So we hope to test that within IT first, and then see where we are from there, but we plan to move forward with that later this year. And as you know, we're getting a new juvenile justice center, and so we'll be working with them to equip that building. There will be network switches, wireless access points, PCs, phones.
Or dare. Do dare. How crazy you want the dare to be? 5?
All the stuff that you would expect to come with a new building. Okay, and this will be the last time I show this screen moving forward. So when I started here 14 years ago, we had lots of applications, green screen applications like the one above. And you might think, gosh, nobody uses that stuff anymore. But there are still organizations out there that do, right? I happen to know someone who works for a company that delivers packages and flies planes to deliver those packages. They have hundreds of these applications. And they really no longer have the staff to migrate them to a modern application like we have down below. Fortunately, we were able to kind of chip away at that, migrate off of those applications. Some of those are applications we developed. Some of those are applications that we purchased. And when I talked about this, over a decade ago, I always explained that this is not a migration. This is kind of a journey. And I'm excited that we're about at the end of that journey. This is just our dashboard that shows all the different county applications that we've developed internally here. So most people's county dashboard doesn't look quite that busy, but we have, give or take, 24 applications that we've developed internally here at the county. Anything that's a core application that maybe Human Services has, to just a little search or, scanning application that other departments might use. Okay, so like I said, one remaining application that we're working on. So this list is much smaller than last year because of that Document Pro solution that was purchased for Register of Deeds. So I'm excited to wrap this up. The AS400 that we had off-site, that was kind of our disaster recovery AS400, has already been decommissioned. The AS400 that we have here at the downtown location, we have to just keep up and running for a little bit longer. We probably will not pay the maintenance on that and decommission it, hopefully sometime here this summer. And a lot of departments had graphs during their presentation, and I had none, so I had to come up with something. So you may not have this in your materials. I added it at the last minute. It's really probably too irrelevant to even have in this presentation, but like I said, I had to have something. This graph is actually of our internet service. You can see in the weekends, there's no bumps there because there's nobody here downloading videos and participating in Zoom meetings. When I started here at the county, I think we had a 50 megabit internet connection, and you can see with the spikes there that wouldn't work anymore, right? With the amount of video that we're downloading, public safety video, Zoom meetings that we're doing, eventually our phone systems traffic will all go over our internet connection. It's become more critical. We're using more bandwidth, and as you can see here today, Gerald's with us remotely over our internet connection, yet at the same time we have hundreds of employees that are using web-based applications, downloading videos, whatever the case may be. I just would like to point out too, when it comes to graphs like that, we have a lot of them, probably not worthy for my presentation, but anything that's worth monitoring, we monitor, whether that's network utilization, disk drive space, CPU utilization. We monitor all of that stuff so we have insight as to what's going on inside of our network. Any questions that you have for me?
Open it up for public comment. Okay, Commission?
Madam Chair, I was just going to clarify with our Register of Deeds office transitioning and Amanda leaving us this summer, I take it the Document Pro transition was the big one, and the burial permits don't raise any concerns for you as we transition that leadership?
Yep, correct. No, Document Pro is definitely big for them. I think that she is leaving their office in a very good place. And I think that the employees in the office have embraced Document Pro, and I think she's leaving the office in a very good spot.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to ask a question regarding the treasurer's office and the 605 drive that the state rolled out. Does your office interact with that? I know the state is their resource for issues that they're experiencing, but do you have anything to add?
Not a lot. So really the state is their main support for that application. We did do a few things up front as far as how their two-factor authentication worked with that, and a few other things. But for the most part, yeah, it's the state that's the support for that particular application.
Okay.
Good morning, Monty. Attended a conference recently and was reminded that both corporations and governments like ourselves are under constant cyber threat, and different entities, foreign countries, et cetera, looking for vulnerabilities and different organization software and infrastructure. Is the county under the same threat? Are there entities trying to breach our data, or is it pretty standard mill threats, or what's the threat profile there?
Well, yes, all local governments are a target for cyber criminals, right? They don't have the security posture as, let's say, a bank does. So we put a lot of effort into defending our network. An executive session that was supposed to be today will be moved back at a later day. I'll speak to you in more detail because that is covered under executive session. So I'll speak to you in more detail. And the next agenda item is an agenda item to sign a memorandum of understanding with Senate Bill 187, Secure SD, and Dakota State University to help and assist local governments with cybersecurity. Being a larger county, we're a few steps ahead of the types of things that they're looking to do. So I'm actually on the advisory board for Senate Bill 187, or Secure SD, as it's known now, to help kind of brainstorm and work with that group on ways in which Secure SD can help local governments improve their cybersecurity. But yeah, there's a lot of risk. When you have a large organization, you have employees that are potentially getting phished, and a lot of different things out there. So we do a lot of things to defend our network, and I'll speak more about that in exec session in the future.
A little bit before my time, I believe it was last fall that it was voted on, but the county put in place a AI, or artificial intelligence policy. Are any of the departments in the county government implementing or using AI, or is there plans of using it at some point down the road?
Yes, so there's a few of us that worked together to create that AI policy, and things are moving fast. So, at that point when we created the policy, you pretty much had to log into ChatGPT, and you knew that you were doing that. Now, if you just do a Google search or a Bing search, it's flipping over to AI typically by default when it's giving you just search results. As far as the county using AI for anything, above and beyond just those searches, it's very likely people, as part of their searches, are asking it to write up a summary of X, Y, or Z, whatever the case may be. I've been searching for some use case scenarios for the county to use AI, and I haven't come up with a lot, but there was one recently that came up that was pretty interesting. So the Public Defender's Office has been looking at a solution where they would upload their videos, and AI would analyze that video, the audio. I believe it looks at the video, I'm not really sure, and then it basically creates a summary of that. So instead of the attorney having to watch an hour and a half long video, they can look at a summary and maybe hone in to the parts that are of interest to them, saving them time on watching videos. So that was an interesting use case scenario. They are interested in that solution. Outside of that, I haven't found a ton. In the IT department, we have used it to create some really neat PowerShell scripts that would probably not be worthy of this presentation, but PowerShell scripts that we're using really more to automate some things and do some stuff. So a few things here and there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how AI can be used in different areas to make government more efficient. So, to be seen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Moving on to item number 20, authorize the chair to sign a memorandum of understanding between Minnehaha County and Dakota State University to create a cybersecurity initiative as part of the Secure SD program. Monty Wadenbuck, IT Director.
So kind of as I mentioned, Senate Bill 187, 2024 Senate Bill 187 put $7 million aside that the Attorney General is managing to help local governments with cybersecurity. Because again, these local governments, are at risk of, ransomware and various different things. And so that was the intent of Senate Bill 187. Like I said, I am on the committee for Senate Bill 187, which is now known as Secure SD. This memorandum of understanding just kind of lays out the groundwork for what they're trying to do and set some expectations that, there's not going to be long-term funding that should be expected with this, but they hope to, cooperate with local governments to do some penetration tests, some remediation, help purchase some solutions with the expectation that we're going to be managing that moving forward.
Any public comment on this item? Commission?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. I did want to ask, I'm not too familiar with Senate Bill 187. Is there going to be any direct funding down the road for the county with this bill? Or?
So there is $7 million set aside. How they intend to manage that funding, instead of typical grants where we're reimbursed for purchases, they intend to purchase those items themselves on our behalf, right? So I will be making some recommendations or making some requests to Secure SD to purchase some things that I think would be in Minnehaha County's best interest. So I hope there are some things that they can help us fund here. And I think that they're going to use some of that funding to help put in secure email across the state as one of their top priorities. So again, in Office 365 for a lot of the counties that don't have a .gov domain like we do and haven't migrated to Office 365. So in that fashion, we might be a step ahead, but that doesn't mean that they might not help us fund some other initiatives that we have.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a motion and a second, I believe. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Bleinberg.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of the regular agenda and an opportunity for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to speak. Seeing none, moving on to commission liaison reports. Any commissioners have a liaison report or an update you'd like to share? I could, go ahead, Commissioner Casey.
Madam Chair, I don't have too much to report, though I will say I'll be meeting with the Treasurer's Office here very soon to discuss their budget for 2026. I guess we should also, I suppose, note we attended the South Dakota Associated County Commissioners Convention or workshop last week in Pierre, and I think it was a great learning experience. And one thing I take it away from that meeting, among other things, is that looking at the legislature and the various property tax bills and the focus on county and local spending, and it might be worthwhile to invite some of the legislators to our budget hearings, and so they can see that process and see where the county is spending taxpayer dollars.
I would also mention the conference that we attended. It was put on by our state association and was an excellent opportunity to brush up on skills and learn a little bit more about some of the aspects of the elected position. And then thinking back a couple of weeks, we had the opportunity, Commissioner Kipley and I had the opportunity to meet with some representatives from Scouting America regarding the teen court program that they have been running for the juveniles in our community. So the program is running on a regular basis, and it's a collaborative effort. It uses some volunteers from the community, some adults, some attorneys. I think a judge participates, and it also pulls on some high school or young adult, maybe volunteers who also assist in that process. And it's sort of overseen by our state's attorney's office, that they help to facilitate which juveniles would be able to participate in that program. So it just sounds like a really great opportunity for collaboration in our county to be working with youth to find the right places for those kids at the right times. And I think that was it for me for Commission Liaison.
I'll piggyback on that, Madam Chair. Just spent some time with our state's attorney, Daniel Hager, and I think he's got a good vision to build towards juvenile diversion. I think some of us, we have conversations about building a $50 million juvenile detention center that we hope is empty, that we can get kids on the right path and not need to detain them in that building. But it's great to know that it's there as a resource, and I think as that actually came up in our Scouting America discussion and just was working with some of these other agencies, is that facility a venue to do some of these activities like teen court or diversion programs or whatnot. So I think thinking about that facility more as the juvenile justice center, that it's got all of the criminal justice aspects, not just a detention facility. So anyway, I think Daniel will be probably coming to us for his regular budget report, but I think he'll have a vision for us on other community partners that we can work with and make teen court as successful and other juvenile diversion programs as successful as possible. So I was excited with that as well.
Thank you. That brings us to non-action commission discussion. I just wanted to mention on our bills this month or this week, there was a large chunk of those bills that went to the state of South Dakota for business that we conduct on the first floor. So things like the birth certificates from the Register of Deeds or vehicle registration at the treasurer's office. When our staff collects those fees, the county only is able to keep a portion of that money. So then we provide the state back the remainder. In this most recent round of bills that we authorized today, $1.3 million was sent back to the state. That's almost 30% of the bills for this week. This is not unique to this pay period or this bill cycle. We send this money back regularly every month. So just wanted to make a note of that. If you look at I think it was around $5 million that we wrote today, that we authorized today, 1.3 million of it is going back to the state. Any other non-action commission discussion? Look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kipley.
Aye.
Heisey.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Kleinberg.
Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned.